All right, everyone, we start off today talking about the Chicago mayoral race. Of course, Lori Lightfoot has been ousted. She wasn't just ousted, she was completely humiliated. Link in the description, archived, of course. Paul Vallas coming in first place. He is the presumptive next mayor of Chicago. He's cast off as a moderate Democrat. We'll get into what this means for Chicago in a moment. Lori Lightfoot is the first Chicago mayor, standing incumbent in 40 years, to be ousted, just to show how incompetent she really is and how unliked she is. It's funny, I saw all sorts of bravado in the lead up to this, which now goes to runoff because nobody clinched 50%. Again, Paul Vallas way out in front. He'll be elected fairly easily, I think. Lori Lightfoot came in third. And it wasn't even close. She didn't even get 20 points in a five-way race. With a couple of also-rans in there, you'd think that the incumbent would be able to scrape together some degree of meaningful support, not get completely trounced, but trounced is what she got. Now, why would that be? I have no clue. Could it be the fact that during the lockdowns she openly violated them to get her hair did? And then said, well, I've got to be on TV a lot, so, I've got to do this. It's a great public importance for Lori Lightfoot to get her hair done, even though it looks like fucking shit. Could it be the soaring crime rate? Could it be multiple out-of-touch statements? Could it have been the fact that she said that people that didn't support her should just not go and vote, effectively interfering in the mayoral election by modern standards? No, it's none of these. People just didn't like her. I'm sure that she'll go on a pity me tour at some point and say that a bunch of white racists were the ones responsible. Well, they chose Paul Vallas because he's white, male, and straight, or something stupid like that. What I pointed out, though, is that while it's funny to see Lori Lightfoot get humiliated, we're all laughing right now. I'm laughing. I'll put it in the live stream. It's definitely newsworthy. It's funny. She gets to make a few last posts as mayor on Twitter and say, well, I've served you with distinguishment, and I'm proud for all of you who showed up to support me. All three of them, apparently. That's funny. It's really, really funny. But it's not meaningful in any political sense. I'll explain why. Chicago is a mafia city. It's run by a corrupt machine politic. The people that actually pull the levers, and I don't mean the voters, behind the scenes, are going to control whoever is in the mayor's office there. It's been the same in Chicago for a very, very long time. It's gangland America. The crime rate is not magically going to dissipate because Lori Lightfoot is gone. The poverty situation won't be solved. Nothing will be solved. Chirac will continue to be Chirac. Chicago will continue to be a pile of shit. It always will be. It has been for a very long time. Since long before anyone who's currently alive today has been alive, Chicago stinks. It is one of the worst places in the world, possibly, in the developed world at least, to be. I feel sorry for people who have to live in that general vicinity. There are a few neighborhoods that are nice. They've got gates around them and private security forces since the police there won't do jack shit. If your home is broken into, they probably don't even respond to the call at this point. This is one of the soft on crime cities too. High gun control, attempts to disarm the local public, extreme corruption in the police force and in the mayor's office, as well as the commissioners that work there. Oh, I wonder why Chicago has problems. See, the problem is you've only gotten rid of one of a very large number of individuals that you would have to purge from the rungs of power in Chicago in order for Chicago to improve. Lori Lightfoot's nothing more than a figurehead. She's a symbol. If anything, you ought to have just fucking re-elected her. She's a perfect symbol for the city. Out of touch. Doesn't feel that the abuse of her citizens is of consequence. Massively corrupt individual, incompetent, and stupid. It's a perfect symbol for Chicago. Again, no offense to people who live in Chicago and for some bizarre reason have some sort of city pride, but everyone outside of Chicago is chuckling at the situation. Most of them, though, are missing the point, though, that Lori Lightfoot being gone is not going to magically help the city. You may see a couple of policies of hers that are particularly pernicious reversed. That's your moderate Democrat. Moderate Democrat in Chicago, by the way, with Paul Vallas, he's a leftoid. He has the same basic ideological principles as Lori Lightfoot. He just happens to be a little bit less insane. You might see a half-assed attempt to rein in the crime rate, just so that he can be reelected. If he can manage to bring the murder rate down by 5 points, people will be calling him a whiz kid. People will be calling him a miracle for the people of Chicago. He's the savior of Chicago. It'll be funny, again, because he doesn't tick any of the grievance marks in wokeness. So it'll be very, very funny when he comes in, things marginally improve, and he gets hailed as a genius of some sort. Hell, maybe he's on his way to an eventual presidential bid simply because of that. If you can't do worse than Lori Lightfoot, and so you will automatically do at least marginally better, we'll see how big that margin is, you will be hailed as some sort of great thinker, some forward-thinking genius that really improved things in one of the worst cities in the developed world. I'm here to tell you preemptively, though, over the coming years, as Paul Vallas presumptively becomes the mayor, again, he's about 10 points ahead of his next opponent for the runoff. With that kind of lopsided advantage, it would be difficult for him, I think, not to win in the next vote, which of course only has 2 candidates to ensure someone gets 50%. I'm preemptively telling you that little, if anything, will change in Chicago, because Chicago's policies have been effectively rubber-stamped by a machine politic that goes well beyond the mayor's office. And a lot of the advisors will still be there. The corporate crooks will still be there. The literal mafiosos that gather around Chicago's politics body, they'll still be there. Hell, Lori Lightfoot will probably still be showing up for bruncheons because, of course, she likes to eat on the taxpayer's dime, and nobody wants to keep that wonderful lady away from her brisket. It'll be very, very funny. And so when nothing changes, when Chicago stays a high-crime hellhole with onerous anti-gun laws, in which the mayor's office blames the gun crime rate on Indiana mainly, which is interesting, it has nothing to do with your own policies. It's always somebody else's fault when you're a leftoid. When the city remains insolvent, when the city remains polluted and overrun with homelessness and a bunch of migrants actually now too, and when the city prioritizes housing them over its own domestic homeless residents and citizens, don't say I didn't tell you so. But for the moment, not to get black-pilled if you're in Chicago, do take a day just to chuckle at Lori Lightfoot. The massive, humiliating failure that has been her mayorship is so far beyond the pale, is so humiliatingly terrible, that she managed to do what nobody has done in 4 decades, which is be the incumbent and not even make it to the runoff. This is a humiliation. It's more than a loss. She's like, oh, I'm sorry to have been defeated, but I enjoyed my time as mayor, and I thank all of you for the time that you've given me. No, you're crying right now. You're crying because now your politically powerful position has been taken from you. You have been shooed into the dustbin of history like the garbage that you are, and good goddamn riddance. That's about all. Peace out.